right. Today I'm here with Michael. Michael, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Is it a cold day in upstate New York? What's the weather like?
It's not too bad. It's sunny out, so it's not as cold as it has been.
So last
So
week I spoke with someone in Florida and I knew they were going to have better weather than me. It was like 80 degrees and sunny, and I was hoping that I could have better weather than you, but it sounds like it's even better in New York today than it is in Arkansas.
yeah, it's
I'm just losing on all fronts. That was a sure bet, I thought, but today it's a balmy 9 degrees here.
oh wow,
So I
wow.
think you're winning. And before we go any further, I'm going to give you your full and proper introduction. This is Michael Storrings, the artist extraordinaire. Michael, I've been a fan of your stuff since I was a kid, walking around the Plaza, walking around the Christmas room at Bergdorf's. And so to be here is like a surreal experience for me. And I'm so thankful that you would join me today.
Thanks. It's an honor to be here.
Oh, thank you. So I'd love to get started with a bit of your personal background and this art interest. Has it always been part of your life?
Yeah, art has always been a part of my life. Ever since I was little, I was always drawing and doing things. And, I didn't always know that art was going to be the field that I wanted to go into. It was something that I enjoyed. And, I kind of thought I was going to go into medicine or something like that. But, I just didn't really have the stomach for that, or like the skills for that really. And so when I went to high school, I had a very supportive art teacher, and she encouraged me to go to a summer art college in my junior year. And that's what kind of sealed the deal for me. And I knew that that was what I wanted to do. And I met a bunch of like-minded people, at the school. And I just felt like I felt myself, like who I really was. And so after that, I went to Parsons School of Design and I studied illustration. And when I graduated, I took a full-time job in publishing and started out doing, pasteups and mechanicals and that kind of thing. And eventually kept growing and learning, and I loved it. And I love being in books and publishing. And at the same time, I kept up with my illustration. And right now, I'm the creative director at St. Martin's Press. And but I also have, do my illustration. And the two careers really kind of tie into one another. They both feed each other and make me stronger in each aspect.
That's so cool. I love how, your teacher had recommended you to this school, and it kind of changed, it set the trajectory of a lot of what was going
Yeah,
on, which is amazing how one person can make such a difference in our
that's
lives.
so true. When you have the support and encouragement of one person behind you, that's all it takes.
Yeah,
It's great if you have more than that, but like all you need is one person to believe in your work and in your person or
yes.
entity or whatever you want
And
to call it.
that vision for
But
you, and like, oh, it makes it more tangible, but easier to chase after maybe, even though there's still a lot of
yeah,
work
exactly.
in the journey. You mentioned some technical terms when you were talking about publishing, maybe I think it was pasteups and mechanicals.
hmm
I would love to know
Well,
what
when I
those are.
well now it's done on the computer, but a lot, when I was starting out, it was all done by hand. And basically, a mechanical is the layout of the book jacket. So you design the spine, you design the back, you design the flaps, and you pull in the front cover. So basically, when I started out doing that, it was we would send out for typography, for typesetting,
Uh,
and then we would take it would in from the typesetter. We would cut out the type and then paste it with rubber cement
no way.
onto a yeah, it was really crazy. But that was how it was done back then, and now it's all done on the computer and in design. Um, and it's great. It's like it's a fun way to start learning about design and having an introduction to the publishing world.
So this was at a job at a publishing house that represented
Hmm.
multiple authors, and how would, like, I have no familiarity with the publishing world. So what's that work stream like? They give you a book on any genre and you create a cover for it?
Yeah. Well, when I started out at Berkeley Publishing as a mass market publisher. So for people that don't know what mass market is, it's like the romance novels and westerns and kind of the books that are sold in grocery markets and things like that. Um, and it was a great experience because those are very commercial books, and you really learn about marketing and how to appeal to such a wide audience with the covers. Um, so I had that background, and I went to HarperCollins and I continued the mass market area. And then after that, I joined St. Martin's Press and I started working on trade paperbacks. So the way a cover is made is basically, it starts out by talking to the publisher or talking to the editor about what the story is about. Um, and how they want to pitch it. How do they want to market it in in the marketplace? So what audience is it? Is it women? Is it children? Is it, you know, young adult? Is it men? And then we go back. We know the storyline and we know the target market. We come up with ideas. So and then we end up presenting them back to the editor and to the publisher, and hopefully they choose one of them. But if they don't, we go back and you know, keep going until there's something that meets all of the requirements. So, you know, and it's kind of like doing a puzzle where you kind of have to find all the pieces and then put it together. So you know, you're filling out people and you're getting ideas. um, you have to put something out, get a reaction, and then go back, hear it, and then kind of try to address that, and then go back again.
Yeah,
So,
it sounds like a really interesting iterative process. But I wonder if,
hmm
like, your work is pretty distinctively like full of happiness and really cool. And
hmm
I'm wondering if there was books that were like murder mysteries, or how did you were there some projects you enjoyed more than others? Like, what was that like?
well, my illustration career is different than the publishing house. Although I've done illustrations for books and magazines and things like that, but my art is definitely influenced by folk art, and I've always had an affinity to early American art and folk art and outsider art. And you know, I just love the honesty and simplicity that that art has.
Mhm.
And I also am attracted to, like, Bemelman, Ludwig Bemelman, who has done the Madeline books and things like that.
Was it the
So
Carlisle, right? The
at the
Carlisle.
Carlisle, yeah,
Oh
there's
my
a Bemelman's bar and has all of his paintings on the wall. And it's just that naivete that I, you know, am really, really drawn towards. And, you know, I didn't really always have this style. I mean, it was years and years and years of trying out different things until I found something that really was, I felt was my voice as an artist. And it started out by doing the Christmas ornaments, and that's how I kind of um, realized that that was really my voice. That the art that I was creating for the Christmas ornaments was really my voice. And you know, with Christmas and everything, you know, you celebrate positive moments in your life and create memories with this Christmas ornament. So that's what I found naturally happened with my work, is I wanted to create, or I just naturally created scenes that depicted positive um, things in life. And whether or not, you know, there's a lot of negativity, and not that everything that I've experienced has always been positive, but like I depict the world the way I would like it to be, I guess. And when I'm drawing it, I go into my own little head and I kind of make up this little world. I think about the people, give them, I think about what they're doing. Are they sitting and looking at, a bird or a dog or, and try to work out all those details. So that's what I kind of focus on in my work. And I think it's important for artists to really have a clear voice like that. I think that, there's if you have multiple voices, there's no clarity in how you can market yourself and get a clear message out to the people that look at your work. So you want them to have a real clear, they go to you because you have a clear message, like you depict something in a clear way. And that's why I came up with the tagline, art that celebrates, because all my work kind of ties into that phrase. It's always some form of celebration, whether it's Christmas or just, going to the park or, um, you know, going traveling to Paris or something like that. There's always moments in life that you celebrate, and that's what I did.
Yeah,
That's what I do with my art.
I love that. I think every day is as celebratory as we make it, right? Whether it's
Hmm.
to take out the trash or clean the house. Like if you wear a tutu while you do it, it's pretty special.
Yeah, exactly. I
Um,
mean, just walking your dog is special, or hanging out with your parents and your parents take you to the amusement park or to the park or whatever. That's a special moment that you're going to cherish and remember as an adult or whatever. So I try to like capture that kind of thing in my work.
and it
So,
absolutely is captured. I have the Plaza at Night one over my bed. It's like a postage mark. And it's like my version of a dream catcher, and I can feel like the vitality of the people in the print, even though they don't even necessarily have like fully formed faces. Like it's just
yeah, no,
the
it's
energy that it exudes is so great. And I act like, as you talk about the role of these celebrations and these holidays, I think, we have been working on getting this on the calendar for a little while. How awesome that it ended up being Valentine's weekend. Like just is such
oh,
a
that's true. Yep, yep.
thing that like things just work out the way they're supposed to.
Yeah, for
So
sure, for sure.
ideal for talking about your work, which is so celebratory and so just enjoyable. So I didn't
If
know.
you hear the little noise, it's my dog making his bed.
Oh, so sweet, so organized. I always wanted a dog that had a job because I felt like it needed to be doing its own thing, and your dog just really has its
Yeah,
life
yeah.
together. That's amazing. So I didn't realize that your work began with the ornaments. Was that an idea you had or something you had been commissioned to do? How did that come about?
I had well, my illustration work hadn't started there. It started with books and magazines and things like that. And then I started to discover licensing. And licensing is a great venue for getting your art out to people. So I started doing in a small way, t-shirts and mouse pads and that kind of thing. And then a company in California had seen my work and wanted to collaborate on a line of Christmas ornaments. And so we did, and it just kind of blossomed after that.
So
So,
crazy. And
and
when you
that's how the style kind of kept developing by creating Christmas themed ideas and images.
when they were so pre-ornaments, the t-shirts and stuff were not Christmas based.
No, they were New York City based.
Okay, and did
So
you
it was,
grow up in New York City? Or
I
what was
grew up
the vibe?
in upstate New York, and I in Syracuse, which is in the center part of the state, and then I came down here. I would come to New York with my art teacher that really influenced me on art trips and things like that during the 80s, and we would come and during for a long weekend or something. So it was a great experience to get the energy of the city, and everybody was like always like feeling inspired when they got back to Syracuse. So when um, when I wanted to go to school, I decided I wanted to go to Parsons. School of Design, and I did, and that was back in 1982, and and after I went to school, I just stayed in New York. So I've been here since 1982. So I spent more of my life here than I had in Syracuse. So
It's such a special place, like for anyone who's, it's indescribable in some ways, but then there's like so many words you could put towards it too.
oh
It's
yeah, for
energy
sure.
of life in the cities. I'm trying to remember, Parsons is near Union Square, or is it further?
Close. Yep, close to it. That's where our dormitories were. It was off of Union Square. But
Yes.
Parsons is on 13th Street and Fifth Avenue.
Okay, yeah.
So,
The Italian house for NYU is on 12th Street and Fifth Avenue. So I
oh,
remember
okay,
seeing
sure,
the
sure.
banners of Parsons on my walk up from Washington Square Park.
Yep, yep.
That is so cool. I'd love to like pause for a minute from the art and just talk about like your life in New York City. So was there a neighborhood that was your favorite? I mean, the art that I know from you is much more Midtown, but what was
Yeah.
your time like?
I live in the Village, and that's always been where my heart is in New York. I think part of it is because it was my home base when I came to New York. That's where my school was. It's where I stayed. It's where I hung out with friends and that kind of thing. And so it was always like where I wanted to be. And but I always I mean, I had experienced different parts of the city too. I lived downtown near Wall Street. I lived in Brooklyn for quite a while. I'm not like a person that kind of goes around from place to place. I kind of stay in the place for a while. So I lived on Sullivan Street for a while. Then I lived downtown for a while, and then I lived out in Brooklyn, and then I ended up back in the Village. I've been in the same place since then. So so I don't know how you describe that, but it's like I don't really kind of move around. I'm kind of like pretty stable with I like my environment to be stable because
I think that's a
you
good
know.
thing. Yeah, that's desirable. When you find the place that fits,
Hmm.
stay
Yep.
there or hunker down. So that's awesome. And so I remember like Central Park was really special for me. And I remember I'd go there and I'd sit, and I don't have artistic ability like illustration wise, but I'd write. So when you're
Hmm.
drawing these things, are you sitting in front of them? Are you remembering experiences? Like what's that process for you?
Well, it's from years and years of experiences that I've had in the city. I mean, like I'll have an idea, and then I'll go and go to the area, draw sketches or take photos and things like that. Because the photos I feel are good for me because there's so much that's bombarding you in New York that it's hard to digest everything.
Mhm.
Photos are like a still shot of that moment. So you can really kind of look, what did I miss? What did I like not see? And then you really kind of see more of the things that were happening, people, how they were sitting or what they were doing and things like that. So it's like going to a museum. Have to do like little sections because I can't digest all the information and visual information that I'm getting. So, but a lot of my experiences are kind of in the drawings, like, and I'll end up putting like people that I've known, friends or something like that that I've experienced, that we've had experiences together in a certain place, you know. So I'll remember all that kind of stuff when
That's
I'm drawing and then try to keep it in if it relates.
Yeah. Do you end up, is it, would that be a surprise to them, or do you share with them, oh, by the way, like you're in this piece, like in this way? How does that go?
Yeah, I tell them about it and stuff. So
It's like the
so it's
best present, probably. It's like, here, you are part of this piece. What an honor. That's awesome. I am just a little bit curious. So you capture all these different seasons in New York. Like I remember them in some of your works. Do you have a favorite time to be in New York City?
I love, well, I like Christmas time. It's really a magical time to be in the city.
Mm.
just so much. I mean, with COVID and everything like that, take it's taken a back burner in the city, but it'll come back. But it's such a magical time. Everybody is like just so animated and kind, and it's just and all the lights. It's just like a fun kind of exciting point in the year. Um, and it's a time period from Thanksgiving up until Christmas. That's the best part because you have all that anticipation of Christmas, and it's kind of a hectic time, but it's also fun because you have all these things going on. You get to see friends, you spend good times with each other, and you're thinking about people, and so it's a really nice time.
Yeah,
But I also really really love the spring in the city. It's really a nice time, and it's just um, the weather is just getting warm. It's not too cold. It's not too warm. The trees start blossoming. It's just a really wonderful time in the city.
even
So
talking about it's making me so excited for it to come. It's like how soon until we get to April,
I
but
know they'll be here soon.
soon enough, right? But and I think your advice to like, I love how you said you take a photo of the things because like just the world's moving so fast, and especially in
Hmm.
Manhattan, the world is moving so fast. I think when people just get to go in for the holidays, I mean, I'm sure that feeling of overwhelming hits them too. It's
Hmm.
like, no, there's a lot we can't control in this scenario, but we can
Hmm.
personally pause and like take it in and do what we need to. I think that's great advice.
All right, thanks.
So you mentioned with the ornaments, you're working with a company in California. Um, you're doing work depicting New York City. How do the Plaza and Bergdorfs end up rolling into that experience?
Well, the ornaments, I started doing the ornaments for Saks, and then Bloomingdale's and Bergdorf had wanted to do them the following year. And the
Like we love.
Plaza, well, after like the ornaments progressed, I ended up doing a book called A Very New York Christmas, and the Plaza carried it, and they were doing really well with it. So they called me up and wanted to do some custom pieces together. And at that point, I had just started making the glittered prints. So, I showed them those and they did well. And so it just kept on growing with them. And I really missed my time with them. I really missed being there this holiday season. So I'm hoping that they'll reopen soon so that I can enjoy my my friendships with people there and my time there.
It's such
So
a magical space to walk through. I remember, when I'd be getting ready to go home and study for like days on end, I'd go stop through the plaza, walk through the basement, stare at the cookies. Like I didn't have to
yeah,
buy
yeah,
anything, but just to be in the presence of like Eloise World was just a very
yeah.
calming thing.
It's really magic. It's a magical space, it's just so much history there, and so many things happened, and just a centerpiece of New York, a piece of old New York that's still around, so
Yes, but I think you are now so much part of their story and like such a great value add to them. And I'm curious, like, I mean, throughout all of this, it was you were brand marketing yourself, like you were your company, you were your brand. Do you have
mhm.
any advice for entrepreneurs, whether it be in art or more broadly, of how do you make that name? How did you?
um it takes a while, but I think you have to just once you find your voice, you have to keep pushing it, and you have to keep consistent with it. And you got to take chances. I mean, you can't wait for things to happen for you. And behind me, I have like a motto: "You make things happen,"
Yes.
because you have to take chances. You have to take risks. You have to put yourself out there. It's not always easy. I mean, people could be critical. That kind of and you just have to focus on doing what you do, and if you enjoy it, for me, I just have to do it. Like, it's not like I have a choice. It makes me feel like myself. And if I don't do it, it just kind of, I feel like I'm missing a part of myself. So I always have to be creating, and I've always done that. I mean, it's very time consuming because I'm working on the weekends, I'm working in the evenings. But I really, I mean, I love it. So it's, in a way, it's not really work. I mean, for me, it's a labor of love. So um, so hopefully people recognize that about their art, and they, and they keep plugging with it. But you have to find your voice, and then you have to find how to market that, and that's by going to trade shows, or if you want to do books or things like that, you have to kind of go and see who's what area do you fit in? How do you market yourself to that area? What kind of books would you be good for? Children's or adult or sci-fi, or things like that. So you have to kind of understand yourself and learn about where you should market yourself, and talk to people and join organizations, Society of Illustrators, or Selma Gundy Club, or things like that, that have a bunch of artists that you can kind of socialize with and talk about things. I mean, I'm lucky because I work with a great group of people, and we talk about art all the time, and I think that I feel that we have an environment where we inspire each other and push ourselves to different levels. So I have that every day, which is really a wonderful gift. And so, and I'm exposed to a lot with my job. I meet a lot of illustrators and other artists and designers, and just being in that world, you kind of allow yourself to be to learn, and to learn more about marketing and that kind of thing. So
Yeah, I
hopefully
think
that's helpful.
it's extremely helpful. And I think the idea of finding your voice and keeping consistent transcends like every career, everything, just like in being a human and
Hmm.
putting yourself to the world. Like it's a reflection of how well you know yourself, almost, I would say.
Hmm.
And in order for other people to know you, you probably are the one who's going to know you best, and
Yep,
to
yep.
come from a place of clarity personally when you can,
It's
which can
yeah,
evolve over time, but from time to time should be
yeah.
pretty consistent. So you mentioned two organizations, I think the Society of Illustrators and
Hmm.
Selma Gundy. What are
Selma Gundy is oh Selma Gundy is a wonderful club. It's on Fifth Avenue around 12th Street, and it's a organization of artists, and they have shows, they have classes, they have a luncheon room, where you can meet other artists, and it's a really great place. It's got a long history of New York, and uh, yeah, I joined it a few years ago, and it's just been a wonderful experience to go there, and meet. And I've taken painting classes there, and so it's been really wonderful. And the Society of Illustrators is great too. I don't spend as much time there as I would like to do, because it's in a different part of the city, and it's kind of hard to get to. But for me, but it's really good organization for someone that wants to go into commercial art and to learn from other artists. It's a good social place, and a lot of art directors go there too, and you can meet art directors who can tell you a little bit more about the business, and that type of thing. So
Oh, that's so cool. And I'm, I sometimes I think I've reconciled myself to the world of COVID. Like I'm pretty comfortable in my apartment. Like I don't mind
yeah.
time. But when you tell me about something like this Selma Gundy place, I'm like, I can't wait to be able to go sit with people and do stuff together, because it sounds so cool and so valuable.
Mhm.
So I'm really excited to look into that more and what it'll mean when we get out of this period.
Yep, yep.
Um,
We will soon.
we will soon. So building off of this, your experiences in New York and what it means to you, I saw your work recently with the New York Public Library, but also
Hmm.
across cities with the Shakespeare and Company in Paris, and it seems like those are maybe more philanthropic or about promoting community, and I'd love to know what that means to you, or how that
I
comes about.
I mean, those two particular things. Uh, I mean, they are. I mean, that they weren't really done as Philip, Philip,
Whatever that was.
uh, whatever. philanthropic. I can't say it. I don't know why, but I do try to do some things that are for charity, and I have done some ornaments, and I donate things to different charities, like when they have Christmas events and that, that type of thing. And I just feel it's important to really support other people and give back. So I try to do that when I can.
Yeah. Um, and I appreciate you giving your time to me today. So it was
Sure,
you
sure.
mentioned risk taking before, and so my baby step in risk taking, I was like, let me just email Michael, see if he'd like to talk to you. But I'd like to hear more about your some of your bigger leaps in your career, and the risks that you had to take, or the things you had to muster up the courage to do, maybe.
um, firstly was going to New York from Syracuse, which is a small town. I mean, I had to take that leap and just feel, you're safe with your parents and that kind of thing. But I knew that I wanted more than that, and so I took the chance and went to New York and to study, and that was really the best decision. And then when I finished school, um, I needed a job because when I graduated, nobody really taught us how to how do you go out and sell yourself? How do you become a business? Because you just don't go to you don't go to a business and say I want to be on staff as an illustrator. That's not how that career works. It's all freelance and everything. And so we had one class that was really about business and how to market yourself with cards and different things like that. And we didn't really have an idea what to do. So as I was trying to figure that out, I needed to support myself to live in New York. And so I just started calling people that I knew and things like that. And turned out that, I had met with illustrators before, to interview them. And I called up illustrators that I knew, and one had been working in a publishing house at Berkeley Publishing, and said that they were going to have a job opening. And so it was really luck, that I was able to, you know, move, get that job, and then keep in that world. So, but you got to work hard, it's not like it comes to you. Like I said, you have to really kind of put it out there and work for it. You have to really make things happen for yourself.
Yes. True for everything, right? It's maybe a little bit of luck of being in the right place, but you're in the right place for a lot of reasons.
Hmm.
That took a lot of effort.
Yeah, yeah.
So that makes absolute sense. And you mentioned that you're currently at a publishing house as well. Is that a very different than the one that you started at? Like, what is?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I'm in a much different role. I run the art department now. So I'm at St. Martin's Press, and I work on hardcovers and trade paperbacks and some mass market. But it's a much different point than where I started, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Is
So,
the do they run like different types of books and prints than the
mhm.
other one? Okay.
Yeah, we work on hardcovers, and those vary from commercial to literary, and the trade paperbacks as well have a wide range of topics in fiction, nonfiction, biography, that type of thing. So it's a much different world than where I started. So for sure.
Yeah, you alluded to in the start of this conversation how that world and your illustrating world complement each other very well. And you
Hmm.
talked about meeting a lot of people in the role that you're in, and the ones that you have been in. And I wonder,
Hmm.
beyond that, what is it about the two that makes them so complementary?
Well, I think that they feed each other. I mean, with my job, I've learned how to be a commercial person and how to think about things in a commercial way. And that's where it helped my illustration. But my illustration has helped my job because it just op- has helped me to like kind of improve my design work, think about color, think about, because I'm observing so much stuff for my illustration, I can think quicker for a cover concept. I'm always, it's kind of like working out. I'm always working out my brain for ideas and things like that. So I'll be able to like kind of come up with ideas a little quicker just because I'm thinking of that outside of my career, outside of my job as a and career as a creative director. So,
That makes a lot of
so
sense, especially the exercise analogy. I can get behind. I understand
yeah.
that one. Makes sense to me as a non-artist per se. Um, so I wonder, if we make this a little bit more abstract, art is a big, is a focal point of your life for sure. But what does art matter to the bigger picture of this world? Like, why do we need art? Why do we need art right now?
Yeah, I think art is something that we need, that will, that it really helps us take us to a different place. You know, when we look at it, does it make you happy? Does it, you know, mainly I think, does it make you happy? And I think people need that to kind of feed um, themselves when things get, you know, not so good. Like right now in COVID, do you have things around you that like make you feel good? And art is part of that. You know, art is something that really helps, that's transformative to people, that really can move them to different places in their life, and help them. You know, it's a way of of seeing the world in different eyes too, you know, from someone else's perspective, and it helps you to become more um, appreciative of, of diversity and different ways of thinking. You know, somebody could see an apple and paint it in blue, and you'll be like, oh, I never thought of an apple in blue. You know, it's not the way I see it in reality. But then you start questioning, like, why is it blue? Isn't it cool that it's blue? I hate it that it's blue, you know. But you start thinking, and it makes you question things in life. But in the end, I think the art that you have in your home has to really make you feel happy, and make you feel good, because why would you want to look at it all the time if it didn't? So
So true. And I love for your art. For me, I mean, it makes me think of places that I've been with people that I love, and
hmm
experiences and that have been motivating for me or pivotal in inspiring where I am and what I'm doing. And so I completely agree with you there. I also think, with your comment about the apple that's blue, like as, I'm studying social work right now and social justice. And I think um, sometimes it becomes as if the line is so clear for each person, like, well, this is completely right and this is completely wrong. But when you insert art into that, it really becomes a way of like
hmm
completely jumbling up what you know and rethrowing
hmm
it out there so you can have the capacity to see it in a new way. So I see it as really,
yep.
really powerful. That blue apple is like, well, if I'm mad about it, why am I mad about it? And I didn't
Yeah.
realize I was going to be so mad about it. So that's really helpful for like self-reflection then too, almost,
hmm
I would
yeah.
think. That's so exciting. There's so much potential there. Um, so as we're wrapping up, Michael, I mean, this has been so special for me, and I want to make sure that um, you can tell people, what do you want people to leave knowing about you and about your work?
um I just I mean I just hope that my work brings people, um brings them joy and makes them feel good. I mean, that's my main goal. And the greatest compliment and gift that I could ever be given is if somebody feels that from my work, and I've somehow made their life a little better, or you know, just brought them some form of pleasure. And so that's my main thing I'd like to leave people with. And
I
that's
love that.
that's about it. So
And Michael, finally, what are you looking forward to?
Well, I just signed with a licensing agency, and I'm looking forward to expanding my art onto different products. So hopefully things like tabletop and fabrics and things like that will come to fruition at some point in the near future.
I'm so
So,
excited to see that happen. I'll be staying tuned on your Instagram and your site. And um, a while back in this conversation, you mentioned outsider art and folk art. And
mhm.
would you classify your art as one of those things or something entirely different? Like, is there, is it just
I
Michael Springs art? Is there a category? What is,
no, I would say it's pretty naive, you know. Y- I mean, I try to keep things simple, and I mean, I think that it's, my perspective's off, just like in naive art. People are not the perspective or the size that they should be, in real life. So, and sizes of things are off, the perspective off, that kind of thing. But I don't really worry about that. I try to like just create it so that it really, just makes sense as a piece of art, but it doesn't have to make sense in reality. So,
and it
you know,
absolutely works. And I personally love it. So it
thanks.
makes sense to me. Well, thank you so much, Michael. It really has been such a privilege. And I can't wait to share this conversation with people.
Thank you. Thanks so much.